Have you ever experienced this feeling? You turn off the lights, lie down after a long day hoping for a peaceful sleep, but then you toss and turn your mind racing, unable to stop the flood of thoughts about work, family, and things left undone. Or worse, you fall asleep only to wake up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and can't drift back to sleep. If this is happening to you, please don't blame yourself just yet. The truth is, sleep is being stolen from so many people silently and persistently. And the cause might not lie in stress, not in your phone, but in what you eat or don't eat. In this video, you'll join me to explore 10 natural foods, no pills, no complicated recipes, scientifically proven to restore deep restorative sleep. Free common mistakes that seem harmless, but could be why you've been waking up at night for months. And a quiet story of a 56-year-old woman who endured 7 years of insomnia and how she quietly turned it around with small kitchen changes. She wasn't a nutrition expert. She couldn't afford expensive sleep meds. She was just a mother once crying in the dark each night, exhausted yet unable to sleep. And today she wants to share what helped her reclaim something seemingly simple, restful sleep, free of nightmares, free of jolting awake at 3 a.m. So if you've ever pressed your hand to your forehead and wondered, is there a simple, natural way for me to sleep soundly without relying on pills? Then stay with me, because right after this, you'll discover something I wish I'd known sooner: why you're still tired after 8 hours. The truth about modern sleep. You've slept 7 or 8 hours, but when you wake up, you still feel exhausted as if you never rested. Your body feels heavy, your mind foggy, and you start your day with a strong coffee. Not because you want to, but because you can't stay alert otherwise. You're not alone. In fact, over one-third of adults in the US report feeling tired, despite getting the recommended hours of sleep. But the issue isn't the hours, it's the quality. You see, sleep isn't a uniform block of time. It's a structured cycle like a piece of music. It includes light and REM sleep, clear, deep sleep, REM sleep, where your brain dreams and processes memories. Of these, deep sleep is the true recharge phase. This is when blood pressure drops, muscles repair, and the immune system resets. If you don't get enough deep sleep, even 10 hours won't leave you refreshed. Linda, 58, from Portland, once shared that every morning she felt like she'd climbed a mountain, despite doing nothing the night before. She slept enough hours, avoided phones in the bedroom, and even tried meditation. But after using a sleep tracker, she discovered her deep sleep lasted less than 20 minutes each night. That's why Linda's sleep wasn't restorative. And the troubling part, she had no idea for years. What's the small lesson here? We often think going to bed on time is enough. But the truth is, quality sleep with its structure doesn't happen by chance. It's built from small daily habits: light exposure, your mental state before bed, and what you eat. And that's exactly what you'll start exploring in the next section. Because sometimes just one banana eaten at the right time, the right way, can be the first key to teaching your brain to sleep again from scratch. Let's begin with the first food. 2. Bananas revisited, more than just potassium. If you're like most people, you probably think of bananas as a sweet, convenient fruit, good for digestion and potassium. But did you know that every ripe banana you skip at the end of the day might be the gentle signal to awaken the deep sleep that's been dormant in you? What makes a banana so special? It's not just potassium, though. It does help relax muscles. Bananas contain a trio of sleep-supporting nutrients that often go unnoticed. Magnesium calms the nervous system and reduces muscle tension. Vitamin B6, essential for converting tryptophan into serotonin, the happiness neurotransmitter. Tryptophan, an essential amino acid, a precursor to serotonin and then melatonin, the sleep hormone. In other words, just one banana is enough to restart your body's natural relaxation cycle, something sleep meds can't replicate. A story from a woman named Rosa. Rosa, 65, was once a diligent, meticulous person, but that sometimes kept her mind from shutting off at night. She didn't have full insomnia, but her sleep was restless, often interrupted by jolts awake. One day after reading a friend's tip about eating ripe spotted bananas before bed, she tried it, more as a way to stop overthinking. She started eating one banana each night about 45 minutes before bed. No miracles happened instantly, but after a few days she noticed her legs no longer twitched randomly when lying down. She checked the clock less at night, and in the morning, she felt lighter, her mind no longer foggy. Sleep came gradually, as gentle as a breath, without force. A small tip to boost its effectiveness: try turning that banana into a soothing dessert. Mash a banana with warm oat milk, a pinch of cinnamon, and a few chia seeds. This simple dish combines natural carbs helping tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier and micronutrients to nourish your nerves. The small lesson from bananas: not all solutions are complicated. Sometimes the simplest, most accessible things like a banana can remind your brain it's time to rest. You don't need to force sleep. You just need to create the conditions for it to return naturally. But if bananas are the first catalyst for your nervous system, the next food will help you maintain that relaxation rhythm all night, a tiny seed you might overlook. Next, let's revisit an old friend. 3. Almonds and blood sugar, the midnight wake-up fix. There's a special kind of insomnia, and it's very common. You fall asleep easily, but then wake up around 2 or 3 a.m., sometimes from a fleeting dream, sometimes for no reason at all. You open your eyes, lie still hoping sleep will return. But the harder you try, the further it slips away. And the next morning you step out of bed with heavy eyes and a sense of frustration. If this sounds familiar, the culprit might not be in your mind, but in your blood. The reason you wake up at night could be low blood sugar. Few people consider this. When blood sugar drops too low at night, your body reacts as if it's in danger. Your adrenal glands release adrenaline and cortisol to wake you up, triggering a fight-or-flight response. In other words, an internal shock, even though everything outside is quiet. And that's where almonds become a silent, reliable ally. Why do almonds help you sleep through the night? Rich in magnesium, calms nerves, reduces muscle cramps, stabilizes heart rate. Healthy fats, maintain steady blood sugar levels overnight, preventing a crash. Just enough protein supports tissue repair while you sleep. Vitamin E fights silent inflammation in the brain and body, which can disrupt deep sleep. And most importantly, almonds regulate cortisol, the stress hormone that might be why your mind races at midnight. The story of Daniel, a single father. Daniel, 42, works in tech and often brings work home. Despite trying to care for himself, exercising, sleeping on time, he still woke up at 3 a.m. with an unexplained unease. After reading about blood sugar's role in sleep, he started eating a small handful of almonds an hour after dinner. No miracles the first night, but after a week he noticed he woke up less tired, his sleep was less interrupted, and most importantly, he no longer struggled to fall back asleep when waking. A small tip to double the benefits: soak almonds in water for 4-6 hours before eating. This removes phytic acid, a compound that blocks magnesium absorption and softens the nuts for easier digestion. You can eat them raw before bed, 6 to 8 nuts are enough, or blend soaked almonds with warm milk and cinnamon, creating a gentle almond sleep latte. The small lesson from these tiny nuts: we often seek big solutions for sleep issues, machines, meds, therapies. But sometimes peace begins with something small, a handful of nuts, and a consistent habit. Because sleep, like recovery, doesn't come from rushing, it comes from stability. And if almonds are the loyal friend keeping your blood rhythm steady, the next companion is a juicy red fruit, not just sweet, but whispering to your sleep hormones. Let's meet it next. 4. Kiwi plus banana combo, the natural melatonin cocktail. Most of us know fruit is good for health, but not everyone realizes that some fruits don't just provide vitamins, they can signal your brain, you're safe, it's time to rest. Among them, kiwi, a small fruit with a fuzzy skin often overlooked in supermarkets, is one of the most researched foods for sleep support. Kiwi, small but mighty. Here's something few know. Kiwi contains naturally high levels of serotonin, a precursor to melatonin, the hormone that promotes deep sleep. Beyond that, kiwi also offers vitamin C and E, reduce oxidative stress, soothing the nervous system. Fiber supports digestion, nourishing gut bacteria, the second brain. A study in New Zealand, kiwi's homeland, found that people eating 2 kiwis each night for 4 weeks significantly improved sleep duration, quality, and morning alertness. And when paired with bananas, magic happens. Bananas, as you now know, are a great source of tryptophan and magnesium. Together with kiwi, you get tryptophan from bananas, serotonin from kiwi, melatonin, and magnesium relaxes muscles, reduces anxiety. This combination forms a natural melatonin cocktail. No pills needed, no perfect dark room, just you, a spoon, and a few quiet minutes before bed. The story of Marla, a night shift nurse. Marla, 39, works as an ER nurse. With a constantly shifting schedule, she struggled to establish a stable circadian rhythm. After months of trying herbal teas, eye masks, and white noise, a nutritionist suggested pairing kiwi and bananas an hour before bed. She started with a simple dish: mashed banana plus sliced kiwi plus a spoonful of unsweetened almond yogurt, eaten as a light dessert. Results didn't come instantly, but after 10 days, Marla noticed she fell asleep faster. She no longer woke with restlessness, and in the morning she felt relieved, a word she hadn't used for mornings in a while. The small lesson from kiwi and bananas: you can't command your body to sleep, but you can gently guide it back to its natural rhythm, bite by bite, moment by moment, as you prepare for rest. And sometimes big changes don't start with expensive therapies, but with a spoon and 2 humble fruits. Now that your nervous system is soothed, it's time to reset the circadian clock thrown off by stress, age, and blue light. Let's meet the juicy red fruit, seemingly just a snack, but a natural reset switch for your sleep. The next 5, tart cherries versus cherry juice. Which one works better? There's a fruit that evokes a gentle feeling. Small, juicy red, both sweet and tart, like a soft note at day's end. And more than that, cherries, especially tart cherries, are among the few foods naturally rich in melatonin. No synthesis needed, no middleman. Just eat and the sleep hormone flows in softly, peacefully. Tart cherry, a sleep-specific cherry, not the sweet cherries you see in desserts. Tart cherries, darker red with a mild sourness, contain 5 or 10 times more melatonin than regular cherries. They also offer anthocyanins, powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that aid brain recovery. Tryptophan and potassium support muscle relaxation and nervous system calm. Fresh cherries or juice, which works better? This is a question many ask. Fresh or frozen tart cherries. Retain fiber. Supports digestion, stabilizes blood sugar. Lower natural sugar. Avoid sudden energy spikes. Easy to pair with a light snack or smoothie. Pure tart cherry juice, 100%. Fast absorption. Melatonin enters the bloodstream quicker. Sure, convenient for busy people. But lax fiber may spike blood sugar if overconsumed. So if you need a quick effect, e.g. coming home late, wanting to sleep soon, a small glass of tart cherry juice. If you have time for a snack and want lasting benefits, fresh or frozen cherries are better. The story of Elena, a freelance writer. Elena, 34, is a content writer in Austin, Texas. She often writes late, and even after stepping away, her mind buzzed with unwritten words. After months of trying herbal teas with no improvement, she read that tart cherry juice could regulate melatonin. She tried 100 ml of pure juice each night an hour before bed. Results: after 3-4 days, her eyes began drooping on cue, no more struggling for sleep. Weeks later, she switched to frozen cherries added to warm oatmeal. Sleep still came, but more gently, not forced. And crucially, her sleep stayed uninterrupted. The small lesson from cherries: everyone's body is different. Sleep, like cherries, needs to be tasted, felt, and adjusted to your own way. Sometimes a few cherries or a sip of juice is enough to tell your body, I'm safe, I'm allowed to rest. Now you have natural melatonin in your system. But if you want your body to produce more melatonin, not just rely on food, the next fruit might be the bridge. Rich in serotonin, aiding digestion, and reducing oxidative stress. 6. Walnuts and omega-3. Why your brain loves this bedtime snack. Have you noticed that walnuts look like a tiny brain? Interestingly, that shape isn't random. Because in nature, few foods are as friendly to our brain and sleep as walnuts. What makes walnuts an ideal bedtime snack? First, omega-3 and omega-6 essential fatty acids your body can't produce. Your brain uses them to maintain nerve cell membrane structure, reduce neural inflammation, and crucially support melatonin production, the hormone that lulls you into deep sleep. Beyond that, walnuts offer tryptophan, a building block for serotonin, melatonin. Magnesium relaxes blood vessels, soothes the nervous system. And most importantly, natural melatonin, ready to use, no complex conversion needed. In short, a few walnuts provide your brain with both raw materials and the finished product for smooth, lasting sleep. The story of Martin, a 65-year-old man living slowly. Martin, a widower from Vermont, often woke at night not from worry or nightmares, but simply waking then, unable to sleep again. He disliked meds, wasn't used to teas, but after a chat with his daughter, a nutritionist, he added 4 to 5 walnuts to his light dinner. At first, he didn't notice, but by week 2, he realized. He no longer checked the clock at 3 a.m., and even if he woke, he fell back asleep within minutes. No alarms, no fans, no deep breathing techniques, just a small dietary shift. A small tip to maximize walnut benefits. Soak walnuts in water for 3–4 hours before eating. This removes phytic acid, a mineral absorption blocker, softens the nuts, making them easier to digest and absorb. Pair them with a kiwi or banana slice. The carbs from fruit help tryptophan in walnuts cross the blood-brain barrier, converting to serotonin and finally melatonin. The small lesson from walnuts. We often think the brain needs quiet to sleep, but really it needs proper nourishment to confidently switch off. No need to torment yourself over restless nights. Just remember, each time you choose the right food, you're sending a gentle signal to your brain. You're safe. And if walnuts are a brain-loving snack, the next food will keep your whole body in rhythm all night. Because sometimes waking at 2–3 a.m. isn't about worry. It's your blood sugar speaking. Let's explore that next. 7. The truth about oatmeal, not just a breakfast food. When you think of oatmeal, you might picture breakfast. A warm bowl, some fruit, slices, a gentle start to the day. But here's something few tell you. Oatmeal isn't just for mornings. In fact, when used right, it's one of the best sleep-supporting foods. Why does oatmeal help you sleep better, especially at night? It's thanks to 3 wonderful elements oatmeal provides. Slow digesting carbs. Keep blood sugar stable overnight, preventing drops that wake you. Magnesium and zinc promote nerve relaxation, reduce muscle tension, and naturally boost melatonin. Avenin, a unique oatmeal compound, has calming properties, reducing mild nerve irritation without sudden drowsiness. In short, oatmeal doesn't knock you out like a drug, but acts like a friend patting your back, gently guiding you into deeper, calmer sleep without midnight jolts. The story of Ryan, a night shift programmer. Ryan, a software engineer in California, worked late, ate dinner late, and often woke at 3 a.m., not from stress, but from hunger. After a nutritionist friend's advice, Ryan changed. He ate a small bowl of oatmeal with almond milk, banana, and walnuts before bed. Results: he no longer woke from hunger. His sleep felt deeper, smoother, not floaty anymore. And the next morning he felt charged. No need for that first coffee to open his eyes. A small tip to make oatmeal a perfect sleep inducer. Use rolled oats or steel-cut oats rich in fiber, digesting slower. Cook with warm almond or oat milk. Add cinnamon, stabilizes blood sugar, a few chia seeds or walnuts for healthy fats. Avoid white sugar or too much honey, can spike insulin and backfire. Bonus busy. Try overnight oats prep at night, chill and warm up before eating. The small lesson from a bowl of oatmeal. We don't always need more sleep hours. Sometimes we need stability in heart rate, blood sugar, breath. And that stability can start with a simple, soft, warm dish before bed. Because sometimes your body just needs a gentle reminder. You won't be left hungry tonight. You can rest easy. We've cared for blood sugar nerves and circadian rhythm. But what about the mind? How do you soothe racing thoughts before bed without meds? The answer might lie in a small, gentle white flower, trusted by humanity for thousands of years. Let's explore. So, micronom 8. Chamomile tea is useless. Unless you brew it this way. This is a familiar scene. You brew a cup of chamomile tea, sit on the sofa, soft yellow light glowing, hoping for a miracle that this tea will lull you to sleep. But then, you still toss and turn. Thoughts still drift like uninvited winds. And you wonder, does chamomile really work, or is it just an old wives' tale? The answer is yes, but only if you brew it right. Chamomile might not work if you reuse cheap supermarket tea bags. You steep it for just 1 to 2 minutes in boiling water. Shut it down, or you pour water too hot, evaporating its precious compounds. Chamomile contains a special compound, apigenin. This natural flavonoid binds to GABA receptors in the brain, helping Hinaris reduce anxiety, calm nerves, and guide you into a deep state of relaxation like a mild sedative without addiction. But apigenin is sensitive to heat and steeping time. Brew it wrong and it's gone. So how do you brew chamomile correctly? Use whole-dried chamomile flowers, not tea bags. You'll get far higher apigenin levels. Water shouldn't be at a rolling boil. Let it cool to 80-85 conjugation. When big bubbles stop, only steam rises. Use 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried flowers per 250 ml cup. Steep for 8 to 10 minutes. Cover to retain essential oils. Optional, add a thin ginger slice, a teaspoon of raw honey, or a few mint leaves to enhance flavor and relaxation. The story of Lucille, a grandma who never took sleep meds. Lucille, 74, was a former yoga teacher living simply avoiding meds and screens after 8 p.m. But in recent years, she started losing sleep, not from worry, just from age. Her daughter bought her a jar of whole chamomile flowers from a herb shop. Lucille followed the steps, boiled water, cooled it, steeped flowers in a warm glass jar, and covered it. She drank the tea in silence, no TV, no phone, just the gentle floral scent spreading. Gradually, she no longer needed to count breaths or force sleep. Sleep came like a lullaby from a flower. The small lesson from chamomile: effectiveness doesn't come from a tea bag, it comes from giving nature a chance to work. Sleep is the same, no need to force, just create the conditions. A properly brewed cup can warm your body and gently tell your mind it's time to let go. 9. The danger of sauerkraut before bed. Fermentation isn't always friendly. We often hear nurture a healthy gut and your mind will find peace. And that's true. But not all fermented foods are friendly if used at the wrong time or way, especially before bed. A prime example: sauerkraut, the traditional German pickled cabbage. Why is sauerkraut known to aid sleep? It contains live probiotics balancing gut microbiota. A healthy gut produces enough serotonin, lays the foundation for melatonin, deeper, stabler sleep. Plus, it offers vitamin C and K and fermentable fiber to nourish good bacteria. But here's the catch: fermentation isn't always a friend, especially at night. If you eat sauerkraut, tudenum, who's fermented too late, pioneworm to too much, or paired with heavy foods like red meat, wine, or cheese, your digestive system meant to rest will strain instead. This can cause schludersurdirter, bloating, gurgling stomach, cutter, sleep interruptions, charo, or for some histamine intolerance leading to flush skin itching or mild headaches upon waking. The story of Heather, from a healthy gut to poor sleep. Heather, a yoga teacher in Oregon, loved natural foods and favored fermented ones. She ate a small bowl of sauerkraut after dinner as a gut boost. But she noticed though sleep came easily, she often woke with a flush feeling and sometimes a hazy, light-drunk sensation. After research, Heather found she had high histamine sensitivity, a compound that rises with fermented foods near bedtime. Since then, she adjusted. Ate a sauerkraut at lunch or early afternoon, avoided pairing it with red meat or wine, and her sleep returned to peaceful calm. How to use sauerkraut correctly for sleep. Use 2 to 3 tablespoons pair with a light carb meal, brown rice, oatmeal, quinoa. Eat at least 3 hours before bed. Avoid combining with red wine, dark chocolate, tyramine-rich foods. Choose unpasteurized sauerkraut, live bacteria stay active. If you make it at home, just shred cabbage mix with sea salt, press and ferment in a sealed jar for 5 to 7 days. Easy and fun. The small lesson from a healthy dish: something good used wrongly can cause trouble. With sauerkraut, benefits come not from quantity, but from understanding how your body responds. Observe, listen, and adjust. Because sleep doesn't come from a health trend, it comes from what suits and soothes you. We've covered many foods that help your body rest, from fruits, nuts, to drinks. But there's something few suspect: some seemingly healthy foods silently disrupt sleep every night. Let's explore that in the final section. 10. The 3 healthy foods that secretly disrupt your sleep. Sometimes what keeps you awake isn't a lack, but the choices you believe are good for health. You eat healthy, avoid sugar, avoid fats, yet can't sleep well. Chances are these 3 common foods labeled healthy are quietly sabotaging your sleep each night. 1. Decaf coffee, not truly caffeine-free. Many opt for decaf coffee at night thinking, as long as there's no caffeine, it's fine. But the truth is, decaf still contains 3 to 10% of the original caffeine. For sensitive people, a few milligrams are enough to keep the brain alert, delaying sleep onset or disrupting REM cycles. Plus, the familiar aroma and taste can trigger behavioral memories, tricking your brain into work mode instead of sleep. Tip: if you want a warm drink at night, switch to caffeine-free herbal teas like chamomile rooibos or golden milk, warm turmeric milk. 2. Dark chocolate, the bittersweet alertness secret. Dark chocolate is praised as a healthy snack, rich in antioxidants, low in sugar. However, it also contains caffeine and theobromine, a stimulant that raises heart rate and reduces sleepiness. For sensitive individuals, a few squares after dinner can cause restless sleep, vivid dreams, or trouble falling back asleep when waking. Tip: swap chocolate for berries, walnuts, or a banana slice, tasty and sleep-friendly. 3. Red wine. You think it relaxes, but it breaks deep sleep. Red wine can make you sleepy faster, that's true. But what you don't see is the sleep that follows is often shallow, easily broken. Alcohol reduces REM sleep duration and increases brief awakenings, leaving you sluggish and slow the next morning despite enough hours. Plus, it can trigger acid reflux, dry throat, and mild dehydration, all sleep disruptors. Tip: if you need relaxation after a long day, try warm water with fresh ginger and lemon, or a gentle 4 to 7 8 breathing exercise. The small lesson from these harmless foods: not everything labeled healthy is good for sleep. Healthy doesn't mean safe at all times. And sleep, like emotions, needs tender observation, not just generic rules. Transition to the conclusion. Now you know the foods that can guide you to sleep. And you've learned which disguised goodies might steal your precious rest. But knowledge isn't enough. What matters is what you'll choose for tonight. You've journeyed through a gentle yet meaningful path. Not a lecture, not a dry list, but subtle, tender suggestions from nature, from things you might see daily in your kitchen, but never viewed as sleep friends. We've explored together. Croissant oatmeal keeps your blood sugar steady overnight. Almonds and walnuts soothe nerves and boost melatonin. Bananas and kiwi create a natural sleep compound. Tart cherries help your body recall its original rhythm. Chamomile, if brewed right, truly tells your brain you can rest. Sauerkraut, seemingly good but needs the right timing. We've also uncovered what seems good but secretly harms, like dark chocolate, decaf coffee, and a glass of wine before bed. But above all, this isn't just a food list. It's a reminder that your body knows how to rest if you give it a chance. Sleep isn't a battle. No control needed. No trying to sleep. Just create the right conditions and gently step into another state. If you found this video helpful, share it with someone you love who's also up all night over seemingly small things. Subscribe, because I'll keep sharing lighter, healthier ways. Nothing extreme, Nothing complicated. You've done enough. Your body deserves rest. Wishing you a light night and a deep morning. See you in your first good sleep starting today.